The plague couldn't keep us down, but it damn sure tried.
It damn sure tried.
I'm Stelios.
I'm Lila.
Hey y'all, we've been away for a minute. Like I said, dealing with the plague. Tried to kill us.
Yeah.
Didn't succeed.
Well, those cold bugs caught up, but we kicked its butt.
Back to more talking about our favorite subject, the Society for Creative Anachronism.
Yep, we're doing another SCA Solutions video, as you probably knew by the title of the podcast.
And today we are talking about something that doesn't get talked about very often, but is experienced by almost everyone who plays at some point or another in their SCA career. We are talking about burnout.
And it's something that does need to be addressed, because, like you said, it happens to everybody at one point or another. And really, from my experience in SCA, it's something that when it does get talked about, it gets talked about like it's that person's fault. And that bothers me personally. Because I don't think that's fair, and I don't think that's a good assessment of why it happens.
I think what a lot of folks outside of the hobby don't understand, and the folks inside the hobby do understand but don't really want to reconcile with, is that this hobby is extremely intensive.
Yep, it takes a lot of commitment.
You know, it is very, very easy for this hobby to bleed into your life and become your life. There are people who have based their entire existence around this hobby. They take on jobs and schedules that allow them to play.
Take lower paying jobs and turn down promotions because they want their weekends free. And it makes perfect sense for some, if that's really what they want to do. Other people aren't willing to do that. And that is what it is.
And then you've got people who are doing very, very well in life, who have the clout at their job to make their own hours and take the time that they need. And they tend to do very well in this game because they can dedicate not only the time, but the resources to it. But we're here to talk about why people burn out. Mm-hmm. And the only thing I can do to give a truly honest assessment is talk about myself. Now, I burned out because of 3 factors: time, money, and my emotional well-being. First, we will talk about time.
Because if the SCA does anything, it eats up your time.
Especially if you're a fighter.
Oh yeah. Because it's not just the events. It's you got to go to fighter practices. You got to go to armor workshops. It's a lot of work to make sure that your kit is safe and well taken care of, and that you're getting to practices so that you feel like you're improving as a fighter. That's pretty much essential if you want to do better, or at least maintain your level of athleticism as a fighter.
Now, you can go to practice and hit events every now and then and, maintain a casual level of play.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do, then do that. That's fine.
But those of you who are seeking that accolade, you know what I'm about to talk about.
The ones wanting the big white belt?
Yeah, I'm about to talk about the road show. And for those who aren't familiar with the term, maybe it's an on-tier colloquialism only, but the road show is basically when a fighter basically goes on tour.
Yeah, it's they've decided that they want to pursue knighthood. Maybe they're a squire, maybe they're not. But it's when they try and hit as many events and tourneys and fighter practices as they possibly can. And it literally turns into going on tour where you're doing something every weekend. You're doing something every midweek. And it's exhausting to go out at hammer and tongs like that.
Yeah, and I did it for 2 years. And it cost me a lot of time. And in correlation to that time, it cost a lot of money, because at that point I was driving a Suburban 2500. It had big ass knobby tires on it that came with it. And maintenance and gasoline to feed that beast was ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember the beast.
And because of... What is it, cat?
Myth, we are podcasting. Would you mind doing that later, please?
Stop all that damn crying. I'm supposed to be whining right now.
Yes, you. You're the only one lives in this house named Myth. Why would I be talking to anyone else?
Anyway, the consumption of so much of my time and so much of my money led to the deterioration of my emotional well-being. And that in itself was very, very hard, because when you put yourself out there that way, you are subject to a lot of chatter, if you will. You know, there are some folks out there who will blatantly say, yes, I am judging you.
Yep, and they're proud about it.
And they're okay with it. There are some folks out there who will feel like because you wear that red belt that they can talk to you any kind of way. Some will say that's not true, and I would tell them to their face, bullshit, you know who you are. But I ain't here to say no names. But doing all of that road showing and spending all of that money and consuming all of that time began to take a toll on my personal life. It began to take a toll on my relationship. And it just began to fuck with me in ways that I just did not find to be conducive to my well-being. So I decided to take a big step back.
You gotta take care of yourself. That's important. I mean, having a hobby is nice, but if it starts to interfere with your life, that's not okay.
You know, and how did I fix it? Simple. I went and did something else. I shook off all of my obligations in the SCA. That means I gave my Squire's belt back, and I went and done something else for a while, because it had gotten to a point where I'd said, fuck it, I don't want it anymore. If this is what I gotta do to get it, I don't want it, because there's no real ROI. There's no return on investment. So if this is going to mean I have to deal with an empty wallet, a broken body, and a broken heart, it ain't worth it to me. So I went to go do something else.
That's really intense when you put it into perspective like that.
Yeah, and I know a lot of fighters feel the same way. They may not say it out loud. They might not vocalize it.
Why do you think they don't talk about it?
Ego.
Theirs or other people's?
Both.
Damn.
Because it's very much a hobby where you don't want to look weak.
Because it's all about appearances and getting positive attention.
Yeah.
We talked about some of that in a previous podcast.
Yeah, you don't want to look weak, and people might see that as emotionally weak.
That's really ridiculous to me.
It is kind of ridiculous, because
like, how dare we call ourselves an inclusive and accepting group of hobbyists if we turn around and treat people with contempt because they have other lives to live and emotions that they feel and needs that they need to meet for themselves and their families. Now, that's contemptuous attitude, in my opinion.
Now, some folks will say that, you know, it's not really like that. But anybody who's been on the receiving end of that, they know that it is.
Yeah, anyone who says it's not like that, I don't believe them. And I think they're kind of in their own bubble.
Yeah.
Maybe it hasn't happened to you, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Right.
You got to have a bit more empathy and compassion and understanding that your experience personally is not necessarily an accurate reflection of everyone else's experiences. People have wide variety of experiences in the SCA and in life in general.
So, now that I've said all of this out loud and openly and quite publicly, I'm pretty sure that there are people out there making little notes and all that stuff, and to that I say, okay. Write it down, take a picture. You know, I had to go do something else in order to fix myself, in order to find some enjoyment out of life, because it had gotten to the point where fighting in the SCA felt like a job.
Wow.
And that's not fun to me.
Mm-mm.
And if I'm not having fun, I'm going to go do something with my weekend that allows me to have some fun.
I think that's fair. It's your time to spend. You shouldn't be forced to do something unenjoyable with it.
You know? So, the advice that I could give to anybody who is really suffering from burnout, look it in the face. Accept it. Accept that you are suffering. Accept that you are burning out. And then do something about it. And by do something about it, I mean take a step back. Go do something else.
Take care of yourself.
Because this game will always be here.
Yeah, take care of yourself because you deserve to be taken care of properly.
It will always be here. And if you feel like you're running on a timetable to chase that accolade, you need to step back and realize that in the end, it's just a game.
And if you are afraid that people are going to judge you negatively for taking time out to take care of yourself, then those people have no right to judge you for that. And that's something you need to take into consideration, as if their opinions should matter or not to you.
Yeah. Play on your own terms.
Yeah. Wow, that was a really intense topic.
Yeah, it was.
But it needed to be brought out. So
it needed to be said.
Have you burned out? If you have, feel free to shoot us a message. Leave a comment. Send us a private message. We'll be happy to keep your identity, private. We're not going to go naming names. Talk about it. I mean, has it happened to you? Has it happened to someone you know? What are your thoughts on this? Share. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you like this video, mash on that like button, mash on that subscribe button, heck, mash on that share button. We'd love to spread the love.